Hello, I'm Jenny Miller on behalf of the Cheltenham Local History Society, and I'm talking to Joan Whiting-Moon this morning, who's going to tell us about her impressions of Cheltenham before she actually moved here. Thank you, Joan.
I lived in Gloucester in the 1960s, but we came to Cheltenham on visits quite frequently during that time, weaving our way through Staverton and Churchdown because the fast road was still to be built. It had been planned by Telford in 1819, but it was still to be built. We came in to Cheltenham past the GCHQ prefab huts in Lansdowne Road. Then we were into the tree-lined, elegant villas, and Gloucester seemed very suburban in comparison. We parked behind the Plough Hotel, which had had stabling for 100 horses, but was demolished to make a rough car park with ruts and puddles. That area is now covered by the Regent Arcade. Then we would go to Cav House for tea. It still had its elegant Edwardian facade and striking window displays. The restaurant was on the first floor. It was full length of the Regent Street side of the store. Waitress services and the latest fashions were displayed by models weaving in and out of the tables. There were 3 department stores in Cheltenham, and of those 3, Cav was the most expensive. There were Shires and Lancers and Wards, all selling haberdashery, millinery and furs, as well as furniture, glass and china. Cav also had a food department with choice hams to be sliced and rare teas to be bought. There were many more counters and many more assistants at that time. Truly expensive fashion was sold at Madam Wright's. None of the clothes and hats were priced in the windows. In spite of the war and headscarves, hats were still worn, especially when going to matins. This was the age of pillboxes worn on the back of the head like President Kennedy's wife, or close-fitting like the Queen, rather like swimming caps made of petals. The shops that I was often interested in, though, were the small shops in Montpellier, where there was a surprising number of antique shops or junk shops. The interesting thing was that in the 1960s, many of them had remains from Cheltenham's Indian days. I suppose the 60s was when the old colonels and Raj administrators who'd retired to Cheltenham were dying off, and so their contents of their flats were to be found in these shops. And so you would look in the window and see every size of brass gong and little lines of elephants walking up a slope made of ebony or ivory. I found this quite fascinating. All that side of Cheltenham, of course, has worked its way out. The traffic was still two-way traffic in most streets, producing traffic jams. The traffic plan was to have a ring road like Gloucester, and this was not actually produced until the 1970s, and included a piece of abandoned railway line. Anyway, actually that piece of railway line was still in use, so the plan dropped when the ring roads were no longer a traffic solution. The 60s and 70s were the great age of demolition in both Gloucester and Cheltenham, and beautiful villas and small terraces were demolished. And in 1958, Cheltenham Civic Society was formed. It was so horrified by the way in which Cheltenham's facades were being so radically changed at this time.